context as to my interaction with them. I was walking around Event Tech Live about in November 2018. It was just a couple of months after I'd started, and the kind of flow of the show meant that I just naturally wandered past a very nice guy called Okay, I'm going to apologise and we're going to start all over again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Delegate Wranglers. I can't see anything on the group. I'm going to get to that in a minute. My name is Dominic, as everybody knows, and I have, for the last 26 episodes, co-hosted Delegate Wranglers Live. Today is all about the Delegate Wranglers. It's answering questions that have come up over the years. It's basically an informal chat with Neil and Diane, who started the group about 5 years ago. But I was just about to start setting the context to my interaction, how I came to know about Delegate Wranglers in the first place. So I was walking around Event Tech Live, having a very nice day, and I bumped into a guy called Gary Exel from what was then Simplify, now Nova. And we had a really nice chat, and we've actually done an awful lot of work since, and my preferred supplier on temporary event Wi-Fi. And he said, you should get on the Delegate Wranglers. This is a really cool group on Facebook, and you probably do quite well over there. So I joined. I did my first supply hour post that very week, actually, or the following week on the Wednesday. And off the back of that, I picked up my first client from the group. And then I posted again in Supplier Hour the second week, and I picked up another client. And then I did the same in the third week. And it's kind of all rolled on. And then very fortunately, I was able to meet Neil. I can't actually remember the first time I met him, but we had a really good chat about a load of things. And essentially, it's my experience of Delegate Wranglers since that started has been from that very first interaction with Gary at Event Tech Live through to meeting Neil last year properly, and then doing the first Delegate Wranglers live show, I guess, before we knew it was going to be DW Live and we were going to be here weekly. The first show that we did was from the meeting show in June last year. I've become very good friends with Neil and his very lovely wife, Diane, over the last year or so. And I had pestered Neil to do this show probably for about 6 months before we actually got to do it. And I'm really delighted that we were able to get to this position. The reason I say all that is because I think my story, coming from the outside into the event industry as a complete newbie, my journey has been dramatically improved and probably accelerated by the friends and the acquaintances that I've made through the Delegate Wranglers group. And I am and will be forever grateful for the interaction I have on this group and for everything that Neil and Di put into it. But I don't think my story is unique. I think there are hundreds, if not thousands, more people out there, but from both a supplier and a freelancer perspective, and probably venues perspective, whose lives and businesses are significantly better and run significantly more successfully because of the group that Neil and Diane started. And I wanted to take the opportunity to say thanks to both of them personally from me and from everybody else in the group who's actually benefited from this before I bring them onto camera, because I have control and I can flick the switch and I can say what I want. And I can see them both laughing in the background. But I really wanted to just say from me and from everybody, thank you and to Neil and Diane. And I know this episode of DW Live absolutely isn't to be a blowing smoke kind of episode, but it should be acknowledged because you got to 20,000 members. It's why we decided to do this episode. And so that's the thing. I am going to jump onto the group very quickly, but while I do so, now I've said my piece, I'm going to bring Diane Neil in and we can get them talking. Good afternoon.
Hi. Afternoon. Can you hear us?
I did tell you I was going to do an intro.
Oh, you've had it. How much do I owe you, by the way, for that?
Oh, we're all good.
What a time to have like massive technical issues as well.
To the point that I'm literally throwing this together as we go, and I'm just trying to make sure that that everything that we need is here. We are live though, and I can now see in the group. Apologies if you couldn't hear me at the beginning. Apologies that I shut my camera off and muted my microphone. There was clearly a problem. I'm really sorry. So let's just do a few quick hellos, because I can see absolute standard first name that has come up on here is Anika. Good afternoon, Anika. Nice to see you. We should check the stats. She definitely gets the prize. We know that. Alex Piper, good afternoon. Paul Lim, Tia, nice to see you, Tia. Hope you're well. Diane Ivory, Laura Caper Abra, Rob Everly, good afternoon. Rob, Denise Cunningham, nice to see you. Felicity Berry, I'm hoping that you can now hear us. Steve Burton, yes, we are still here. I'm hoping that you're still here too. For that beginning. Neil and Di, welcome to your show.
Oh, thanks, Dom.
Thank you, Dom. Listen, thanks, Dom, for that, for sorting that. I know you had massive hoops to jump through there to get that. So thank you very much. You did a great job there the last minute. Thanks to everyone for tuning in as well. You know, as Dom said, you know, this is an opportunity really to just talk to us about, you know, any questions you might have about the group and stuff like that. It's not, you know, it's not meant to be like, I don't want it to be a backslapping thing or anything like that. Let's just get into some questions, and hopefully we can tell you a bit about the group, a bit more about the group, about its history, you know, ways to maybe use it a little bit better, you know, that kind of thing, and what's coming in the future as well. And we're going to have a little game later as well, aren't we?
Yeah. I know people will find this hard to believe with the way some of these shows go, but we are actually getting increasingly more organised with it, to the point that Neil now sends me quite a comprehensive document a few days, sometimes a few minutes before the show, which lays out everything that we're going to do in the show. This one was even more organised because I printed it. I was organised and I printed everything out, but I've got pages and pages and pages of stuff from Neil about how this could go. But I think it needs to be informal. I just want it to be more conversational. But I am just going to throw it over to both of you. And first of all, Neil, I want you to tell us where the idea for Delegate Wranglers came from, why you started it, how it grew in the early days, and also when you managed to rope Diane into joining you.
Yeah, so well, basically going right back. I mean, I've been an event organizer since before the turn of the century. God, that sounds bad, doesn't it? And I've done a lot of on-site work and travelled all over the world doing a lot of pharmaceutical events and things. And so one day I was actually doing this job and I was loading people onto a coach. And I just thought, I said to somebody, God, we're just like Delegate Wranglers here, aren't we? Just moving them around and stuff like that. And that's where the name was born from. And then literally about a year later, I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to set up, this was about 2014. So I'm going to set up a Facebook group to help me do my work better as a freelancer. Because often you're siloed as a freelancer, you know, you're on your own, you've got no one to ask if somebody gives you a difficult brief or whatever. So, yeah, I set it up, and hopefully there might be a couple of people. I don't know if there's anybody watching who was an original Delegate Wrangler, the first kind of 20 or so people that I invited.
Well, do you know who they were?
Do you know what? I know a few of them. Yeah, I know a few of them. Deb Horton, a lot of the people I was working with as a freelancer. So yeah, there's quite a few, but I need to get the information from Facebook because I can't scroll back that far. Now we've got 20,000 members. All day. So yeah, so you know, we kind of grew. I basically used the group as everybody uses the group now, really, to help. You know, if I had a difficult brief, or we could help each other, or give each other. You know, somebody needed, you know, some more people on site or whatever. We could help and share information with each other.
Yeah.
And then by this point, though, it was only event managers. We grew to about 50 people. We're still only getting a few inquiries a week. And then suppliers by this point were like, because they were getting tagged in on the replies to people, suppliers were like, hello, we need to be in this group. So we kept them out until we got to about 200.
Yeah.
And then we kind of, Facebook gave us the ability to be able to ask questions when we came in. So when you join the group, so we were able to kind of control it a little bit more because we wanted to make sure that everybody in there was either an event manager or event planner, be that at an agency, a corporate or freelancer, or you were a supplier, an event supplier, or you know, owned a venue or, you know, supplied things to the. But then as we've grown, we've realized that event suppliers is basically can be anyone because so many people want so many different things. I mean, we'll come to some of the things that we've been asked for on the group later. Someone once asked for a tank. No name, no.
Someone asked for a tank, did they?
Yeah, you.
I did. And do you know what? That there was an event that happened. There was an incident that happened immediately after that that led to that whole idea being scrapped, which is a real shame. But that client was deadly serious, and had a few things not happened immediately after it, we would have run over a car. We would have run. He wanted to run over his own car with a tank and put it out on social media as a potential viral video. And we actually found the tank. We had it all organised, and then it got canned for various reasons. Oh. But yeah, one of those random requests, eh?
Yeah.
And you sent through a couple of others. I was just going to try and find them. You sent through a couple of others, which we'll go through in a minute. But I mean, that's not. I know that's unusual, but you've had some quite odd ones, haven't you?
Oh.
Dom, I was just going to go back to, you know, the original group of people who were invited. Yes. So one of them was a freelancer called Diego, who Neil worked with over in Argentina, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, and then we had to send our son off to Argentina at 17 on his own last year, and actually reached out to Diego, and he was there as a little
really?
Chorus,
as, you know, amazing.
While he was in Buenos Aires, yeah.
That's crazy, aren't they? On this.
But actually, we were very quickly about to move on to the next thing. I'm just going to jump over to the group because there's quite a few messages coming in. So I'm just going to say hi to Sophia, to Kaylee, to James Garrett. This is great. This is great. Perfect for a Friday afternoon lunchtime viewing. Denise said hello to Helena. Hi, everyone from lovely sunny Barcelona. So great to be here again. What a great show. Matthew Jane, afternoon, everyone from Manchester. Laura again. Laura Rachel Moore. I met Neil at Resorts World for a Delegate Wranglers Expo. It was a few years ago, but a great quality and recommended to contact in hotel suppliers since. Do you have any plans for face-to-face events or virtual like the expos? Thanks for everything you've done. And that's Laura from Coombe Abbey.
Whoa, good question. Yeah, I mean, well, we've obviously done face-to-face kind of business things as well as kind of social things in the past, and I think that's what Laura was referring to. When we were doing DW socials, we would have we had some stands there as well, and yeah, it's very much something that we want to be moving into. And you know, and I think you talked about it, Don, but you know, the term hybrid will probably become the normal thing now.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing both, you know, when we get back to each other, why miss out on the people who can't come? You may as well try and get them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're already having those conversations with clients, and it's I have no doubt that the as we've named it for a video we're making at the moment, 2021 being the year of the hybrid. I think that's exactly what it'll be, and those conversations are going to continue throughout the rest of this year and early into next year. But it's absolutely going to be the case, and that gives you and I an opportunity to do more with DW Live and take it on the road and get out and meet some of the people. It's going to be really odd because you've probably met quite a lot of the people that have watched this show regularly, but we won't have met all of them. I haven't met an awful lot of them, but I know that you and I are going to. We will go and meet some of the people that have been so regular. Yeah.
So many people I want to meet on the group, John, because from from initially going through the request to join the group and then chatting and then seeing their posts and replying and helping them with some of the features, and to think that you've never met some of these people, but there's a lot of people on the list who we do, each time we do a show, I've always said, which so-and-so would come and stop by the stand, because we just want to put a face to the name in person rather than just virtually.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going back to the original question. So obviously, Neil, you laid the foundations, but Di, I know you were very kindly and willingly roped into this not that long ago, really. But how did that go? How willing was it, and how willing was it, and when was it?
Well, I sit across the other side of the office from Neil, so I've lived and breathed it from day one, to be honest, John. It does feel like another child in the family, to be honest. But I am by trade a professional photographer, and I do still have my hand in doing that, but there's a lot more Wranglers work involved in my day-to-day life now than there was 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 6 months ago.
Yeah,
So it's creeping up.
It's a beast. Yeah. It's going into a beast, doesn't it? And it's too much for me to have.
And I know your daughter made a cake, and I know we've seen Max out on a couple of events. Are you going to rope them into it all as well?
Yeah. So Charlotte made the lovely 20K cake.
Yeah.
Lovely, by the way. Oh my God. Like she shaped it into like the numbers 20. Well, that meant there was loads of like scraps left as well. They were the best.
You need to get that other run in, Neil.
Yeah. And also that our son Alex, he's 18.
Sorry, I said Max. I meant Alex.
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 Alex does a lot of work on the group already, so he handles all our Instagram accounts. So you've probably seen that it's grown probably by about 50% in the last 4 or 5 months that he's been working on it. Yeah. He does a lot of writing as well in the group. We call him our staff writer. So he's a really good published author. He wants to be a director. So he's really helping us a lot now. So proper family affair, isn't it? Yeah.
And is that going to continue?
If I had a choice, Alex wants to be a director.
He's probably watching. Let him decide.
No, I wanted to follow his things, but if he can help us and it helps both of us, why not?
I've just seen Chrissy comment, I love cake scraps.
Oh, the best, honestly.
Okay, let's get into some more specifics. Specifically, Neil, what's your job? And Di, what's your job? When it comes to dividing roles and responsibilities with the group.
Bad cop.
Well, okay, we know that.
Black dog.
No, day to day, Neil, tell us.
Yeah, no, day to day. I mean, I look after most of the content and kind of design and all the graphics, coming up with the concepts, and doing all the commercial side, that kind of thing. Honestly, I wear many hats.
And I'm basically looking after the members. So I would say that's probably the easiest way to put it, isn't it?
Yeah, Di looks after all kind of membership things. So that can be from membership applications or when people are applying, because we reject so many. I mean, for basic things like just not filling in the form where we ask the questions to come in and, to agree to the rules. Because the reason we do this is we have to keep the quality really high and I don't mean quality of person, I just mean the right type of people are on the group so they can contribute to it. And also that they agree to the rules and the guidelines that we're following. Otherwise, it makes our life really difficult.
And actually, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt there because I think it's really important, because the one part of this that we forgot to cover is that right back in the beginning, you did this to help you do your job as an event manager.
Yeah.
However, this has now become your full-time job, and I think it became so a couple of years ago, didn't it?
Yeah, about 2016.
Yeah. So this is what you do, and so the importance of maintaining the quality, and I know what you mean, it's not the quality of people, but it's the quality of the contribution to the group.
Yeah.
That's paramount, and not just from a group perspective, but actually because it's a business, and there's no point shying away from the fact that this is a living earner, and it's got to be right for everybody, whether that's as freelancer or for you as the owner.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking a question on the group, you don't want to be spammed by people or anything like that. So we just try and cut out that kind of thing, and we keep our eye on everything, and don't, just so that we can kind of keep the the vibe of the group the same way, that kind of thing. So sometimes it's a matter of asking questions, which Di does very patiently at the beginning.
Yeah, I've got a lot of patience, John. A lot of patience. So
she has to live with me.
Yeah. There's 4 questions for people to answer. So basically, the first thing I'm looking for is that people answer the 4 questions, and one of those is that they agree to the group guidelines. So they know what they're getting into. They know the set hours. They know, it's a be kind policy, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Sometimes people fill in 1 question or 2 questions and don't fill in the others. So we go back to them when we send them a message and we let them know that maybe they've been invited and they're not aware the invitation's there, or that they need to complete all the questions in order to be a part of the group. And then they might come back and complete the rest of the questions. If they don't, they're declined.
But one thing I need to say, sorry to just jump in, that's not because we're pedants or pedantic or have to have everything, but it's because we want everybody to be the people to be the right people for the group. We wish that we didn't have to go through all those hoops to kind of get the answers from people, but it's just really important. So that's the quality of the people in the group and the quality of the contributions that they're making. It's all down to the way Diane deals with it.
Yeah, because on the other side, you might get a lot of people who do fill in all of the questions and agree to the group guidelines, but they're not right for the group. Because we go away and we look at the LinkedIn and we look at the websites and we think, they're going to call the group for data. Do you know what I mean? That are judging by what the business is, or whether we think they're corporate enough, or whether. Yeah.
And I know that again, that's one of the challenges of things like this. Is I know that that's happened, and I know that you then had to have some fairly awkward conversations, and the result of that is that some people have left the group either by choice or by force. Yeah. That again, that's the nature of maintaining a good standard across the group, isn't it?
Yeah, we honestly, believe me, we all we want is everybody just get in business and following the kind of guidelines of the group, and then we just stick to it. We're not really a tech group. It's not really, we're here for business, to develop business leads for people.
Well, we're going to come on to that in a minute. I am going to ask you the fairly simple question, though, of what's the favourite part of the job, and the one that you didn't write down, which is what's your least favourite part of your job?
Oh, God.
His least favourite part, he hands over to me.
Is what?
His least favourite part he gives to me.
More for you for taking them, Di.
I do all those bits, Dom. More patience.
No, I mean, I love to be honest, I love seeing people getting on in the group. Nothing makes me happier than when I hear that like somebody got a job or made a connection. I had somebody that I was looking through some of my the notes from things that we keep. And there was a message from somebody who got like a job. She was a freelancer and got a job that was like 75 grand, contract or something.
No, she just said, I just wanted to drop you a line here to say thank you so much. She said, I'm a freelancer and I was just at the school gates and another mum mentioned to me that I should join the Delegate Wranglers. And within 3 months, I just got a contract for £75,000. And we were like, that warms our heart. That's amazing. That's what we want to hear.
We love it. We thrive off people getting on and hearing stories like that. But it's not just about money. It's about connecting that you made. You met a business partner, or you've got a job, or you've connected to someone who's give you a new aspect. Like me and you, Dom. We've met each other through the Delegate Wranglers.
We've made some amazing friends.
And not only friends, but business-wise, we're developing our businesses together as a result of meeting on the group. So sometimes it's not always like I won that contract, I got that job. It's sometimes like the people you meet and then where that takes you. Cohesion that you have with somebody. So it's more about that, really. It's all out there. Positive networking. It's all out there. It's just a matter of realizing that your competitor doesn't have to be your enemy. It can be your colleague. You can work together. You can develop, especially at the moment.
Especially at the moment. But also, there's great advantage in doing so. There are people that I've met through this group in exactly what would be. I guess on paper we are competitors, but there's no reason to treat each other differently because we're going after the same business in some ways. But equally, it's recognizing that sometimes where we have differences in capability and deliverability, it means we can actually offer more to clients and I have passed business to other people in my sector where I haven't been able to take it on or where I couldn't deliver what the client wanted. And I've also had business passed to me as well. So it's it's great for that. But I think going back to the point that you made just now, you know, I've made some amazing friends through this group, you and Di particularly, but there's other people that pop up regularly on this on the show when we're going through the comments that, you know, I've become really close to lots of people, and I've helped out lots of people on the side as well. So yeah, it's wonderful. And it's really, and that whole message and the maintenance of keeping it positive and keeping it business specific is really important. Not having those personal posts, and that therefore helps maintain relevance.
Yeah, and on that about the personal posts, what I would say to members as well is there's so much that goes on offline that the people who are live on the group at any one time aren't aware of.
Yeah.
So, and in terms of personal posts, not everybody quite understands why they can't do that. But there came a point in the group where we said, well, we've got to be able to draw a line here, or you're going to have someone asking for a cake for Great Aunt Flo's 100th birthday, you know, or a personalised dog collar for the dog. And, you know, it was going to end up getting like that. And we just wanted to split the business. And that's why we are a little bit tight on the person.
Yeah, it's nothing personal. And, you know, honestly, we don't like being the Facebook police.
Yeah, I would always say nothing is personal. And if a post ever gets declined, there will be a message in your inbox to, you know, to explain to you why, or to drop me a message. And I always say to everybody, if you are unsure of whether a post would be allowed, please drop me a line and we will we'll facilitate it where we can. You know, it does need a little tweak, or that we need more information. There's lots of reasons, but it's never a personal reason. It's just because maybe there's not enough facts in the post for people to be able to give an informed reply.
And again, that's part of maintaining the quality in the group across the board, is exactly that.
Yeah, it's keeping the vibe really as well, you know, keeping the vibe positive and upbeat. And, you know, sometimes you have to say these things and be firm about them, but you know, we're always on your side, guys. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
We're not against you. We're not trying to like just say no to things. You know, we want to say yes to things.
I'm nice, really. I am really, really nice.
She is nice.
Yeah, they are. They're both really nice. They're very nice after a drink, and it doesn't take.
So, can I just ask you, does he always do this? He is moving closer and closer and closer to the camera. So I am having to move closer and closer to the camera.
No, it's really uncommon, actually, Di. You will often see me backstage going like that. No one else sees it. I'm going like that to Neil, and I'm trying to get him to sit up.
Right, sorry.
I'm going to jump back to the group because there's a ton of questions, a ton of comments coming in. Just wanted to say thanks for listing our jobs on the DW the other day. 156 applications for the marketing manager and business development exec roles. That's from Paul Lim. Caroline Jackson, hello, made it again. Lovely to see you all. What will your 2021 look like? I'm going to come back to that if you don't mind, Caroline, because I think we'll come on to that in a moment, because I think there's a bit more to cover first. Jan Denning said DWs are the best stand partners. Be sure to lots of smiles.
Hi, Jan.
Hi, Jan. How are you?
Jan's got a little secret, Dom. Not Jan really, really good fun as well when you're with her. But Jan has been on Come Dine with me.
Yes, I know, and I am going to find this video, and we are going to play it in What Caught Our Eye this week.
Oh, brilliant.
Shirley said, DW team, you've been amazing, helped so many of us through the challenging months, and you've kept me focused. Thank you. Truly phenomenal group. I've learned so much, and everyone is so generous with their tips and tried and tested solutions. That's from Angela Clark. Great to see you both live. That's to you two. That's from Tracy. Karina, there's no way we can cover all these comments that are coming, but
thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Generally, it's just so incredibly positive, and I think is typical of what we've seen with the group since it happened. So I'm going to go back, because obviously there was a point at which you realized that this was going to become a full-time job and actually could financially become a full-time job, which was when? 2016?
It's probably around then. I think we started doing a couple of commercial things just before then, but I was still very much working as an event manager. In fact, I did probably my last job actually last January, I think, as an event manager. You know, where I've kind of properly said, right, that's it. I'm not doing any more.
No more.
There was a point though, where there was just a need for it, Dom, to be honest. It was just people, venues and suppliers were just starting to ask me, is there any way we can, get a bit more promotion? I think we've just started the supplier hour and things like that around 2016.
Yeah.
And then people were just asking us, is there any more things we can do? And some people met with me early on, like Kai Showman from
Showman, yeah.
Republic, Kai. Andy from the Mayfair, from Edwardian. People listen, Andy Woods. I met with all these guys like really, really early on, and they were kind of, asking me, what can we do? Can we host a live event? Can we get people over? So it really literally developed from that.
It's been very organic, Dom. The whole thing has been very organic. Yeah. Nothing has been forced. And if anything has developed, it's developed because it's becoming a requirement for it on the group. So it has just very organic from day one.
The way I always say it is, like Field of Dreams is like, you build it, they will come. We're the opposite to that. So we didn't just like build the Delegate Wranglers and then invite people to come. People came to the Delegate Wranglers and then
and it's just grown from it.
Then we built this kind of thing.
Yeah. And then, and I know this is kind of skipping a couple of years ahead, but you kind of go from the point where you were an event manager and you used this to help you do your job, and then 2016 it became your job, and then you've started to grow the group, and you get over 10,000, which I think was the summer 2018. It was just before I joined.
Party.
I know. Well, I know I did, which is disappointing. I'm looking forward to the 20,000, which we will get to do at some point. But it wasn't about the party. I was going to ask then, because there was a point at which Facebook got in touch and they say, "Hey, you're doing some cool stuff. Let's talk."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was an amazing moment, really. It's something that we kind of. I got to know a couple of people through there. Got invited to some like closed user groups. It's got a brilliant name. It's called Power Admins. Power Admin. So got invited to join this Power Admin group, and then got invited to a couple of events. And literally one wintry night, I was in London, and I'd heard last minute there was this Facebook event on, and I was due to go on a train home, and I thought, I'll stay. Anyway, so I started talking to people, got to know a few more people, and next minute, they were asking me what my story was and what the group was about and that kind of thing, and then suddenly I got an offer from them to say we're going to be made what's the official title? Official Managed Community Partner. Yes. Which means that they have kind of a vested interest in us, in helping us develop, us helping them with, training and trialing products and new features, litmus testing us on things. I'm doing something at the moment, which I can't say about, but hopefully I'll have good news about that next week. But yeah,
I don't even know.
So lots of things, and then we have monthly. I go in. Di's been in with me as well a couple of times. One-to-one meetings in Facebook's offices, which is brilliant, by the way. And that's really exciting. Yeah, just to be learning, to be on the inside of the ropes really, and to find out what's coming soon. And
I think as well, Dom, it's nice to know that you've got the support, because with a lot of people who've got Facebook pages and groups, you hear about people, things get hacked and and all the rest of it. And that was always a little bit of a concern.
Yeah.
That, could something get pulled from under your feet overnight? Yeah. Especially when Neil was leaving his freelance role to take this full time. That was a worry of mine. Mm. So when we had that partnership, we felt much more secure then in the knowledge that, they've got our back. So it's good in that way.
But amazing, it's an amazing thing to have, it's to have the support of Facebook and the backing of them is
it's really cool to have that backing and the support, and I think it's really important. Facebook groups have grown out of probably way bigger than they ever expected them to, unless they knew that this is always the plan. But they're huge, and I benefit really from two main groups. One for video production, which I'm quite active in, and this one. They're the two that I do. They're actually the only reason I still keep Facebook as an app, if I'm honest. I just keep it for business purposes. But I know that they've given you an awful lot of support, and I don't think you'd mind me saying, but I know they have agreed for us to go and do a DW live show from there when we're allowed to, haven't they?
Yeah. They said they'd love us to come in and do a show from there. So,
which would be really cool to do.
Yeah, as soon as we get in, we will do.
Now we're going to do a very brief name drop because you put this on your notes. I probably would have done it anyway, but you then get invited to speak on that panel with Nicola Mendelson, who is VP of EMEA for Facebook, which was another moment for you. I know you really liked that.
Yeah, amazing. When I got this phone call out of the blue to say, do you fancy coming on this panel with Nicola and a couple of other people to talk about, the things we've been doing in COVID and what we were doing commercially with Facebook. And it was part of CogX. It was CogX, which was
CogX,
yeah, Tech Week, I think. So that was amazing. I mean,
it wasn't focused on the community, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about the
Facebook as community.
Facebook as a community. That was the title, and then they asked us about the kind of things we've been doing during lockdown and stuff. But that was a big thrill. She was, just so lucky to share a virtual stage with her. But she was great, amazing as well. Really good, another good connection to have. So, yeah.
This is one of those conversations that I know we could keep on going because there's been so much happened, and I want to cover a few more of the notes in here. But I do think that we need to just spend a few minutes taking stock of everything that happened this year, because obviously you and I were doing a fair bit. We just before this happened, we'd just done the last social, hadn't we, down at St Paul's?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, well, we did Confex and then we did the social.
Confex and then the social, yeah. Gosh.
And it was an amazing start to the year. And I think you and I had. There was a moment at the social when Chrissy had everyone standing around singing Bohemian Rhapsody that I think even you nearly had a tear in your eye because it was such an amazing night. And I remember saying to you, Neil, you did this, and it was just a really lovely moment. And then the world changed quite considerably. And you and I spoke quite frequently over the space of a few days, actually, just trying to work out, just having a chat about things and what you could potentially do with the group. And that's how we ended up settling on doing something with DW Live. But when you first saw the world changing and it was going to directly impact the events industry, I think it became obvious quite quickly that it was going to be the first to hit and the last to come out of it. Yeah. What were your thoughts?
You know what, Dom? I will hold my hand up on this one because on the day-to-day running of the group and the members, which is my responsibility, and all we kept starting to see was COVID, coronavirus, and it was taking over the page. And I've got to say, I was one of those people who thought, it's not going to affect us in the UK. It's in China or it's in Italy and blah, blah, blah. It's not going to hit us like it has them. And I put a post up and I said, from now on, all posts regarding COVID-19 will be deleted.
Yeah.
And we got a backlash on that. But I'm going to say that this was before it did really hit.
Yeah.
And I've always said to Neil, I will hold my hand up there and I will say, I read that wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we had a lot of support from other people who at that time thought the same as us. And we're on our wavelength because it's so divisive. It was so divisive, obviously.
It's worth saying, though, that the reason we kind of took that approach initially was because we wanted to keep the group open and keep it running week to store.
It was becoming negative.
Yeah, it was becoming negative and people was... The post was spiraling out of control because everybody was worried, which we totally, now looking back, we totally understand.
Yeah.
But it was from a good heart. We were trying to keep the group running. It's not that we wanted to ignore it or whatever, acknowledge it. We got some vicious emails, from some people about it. We got
more than vicious emails, and I won't say too much, but we did. Yeah. And so out of that, we sat down and had a long, hard think about the best way to approach it, because we didn't want the timeline filled with it. We still wanted there to be room for any leads that came through or any urgent requests for assistance. So that's when we created the COVID thread, which was then into the top of the group, so that we could try and centralise all the information into one place and try and keep a bit of normality.
Yeah.
On the page.
We're not, we never have been a discussion forum, really. You can't just go on and say, what did anyone have for breakfast? Whatever. We've never been like that. It's always been, if purely business. We have a thing that we post up strictly business all the time, you know.
But it was
focus.
But equally for you, it was then striking the balance between giving people an outlet to work out what the hell was going to happen in their industry, without it turning too negative, without it turning too discussion-y, and also then balancing that with the need to keep the group relevant through what was then very quickly became apparent was going to be quite a challenging time for everybody. And it was a really fine balance.
So there was two main things that happened. Well, three main things, I'd say. One was we started doing a COVID-19 newsletter. So we started to put all tips and things we knew and things we'd learned about, and everyone who was doing a petition and all that kind of thing. So we started doing them every week. So I think we did 7 or 8, one a week, full of new information, trying to get that out to people. The second was we started doing a good news alert. So that was where we could start being positive, and if anybody had any positive news to share, and to try and keep the vibe upbeat. We're still doing that now. We're still carrying on good news alerts all the time now. And then the third one was DW Live. And then, you know, that was something that within, I think it was within 3 weeks. I think we did our first one the end of March, because it's on 20.
We did it 4 days after lockdown officially started. We went into lockdown on the Monday, and we did the first one on the Thursday.
So we did our first DW Live, and I think that's really helped to get, you know, our personalities across about what we're trying to do on the group, you know, as well as, you know, hopefully upskilling and, you know, letting people have a laugh and a good place to come and talk. And
well, and that was the point. That was the whole conversation that you and I had right at the beginning on the Monday. I think probably on the Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. It wasn't just going to be kind of a thrown together thing. It needed to in some way upskill and educate, inspire in some way, inform, and also be a little bit entertaining too. And, you know, we haven't got to 27 episodes because we throw it together. It is thought about. You look after all of the content for the shows. I don't take any responsibility for that. It's everything that you've done, every one of the shows that we've done to this point, with the exception of my introduction today, which was my thing. It has all been down to you, and it's just that constant need. Again, I use the same phrase. It's that constant need to keep the group relevant to an industry and for an industry that actually isn't operating particularly well right now. Yeah,
you know, we wanted to make them things that you would really need to tune into. You're like, oh God, I really want to watch that. I mean, and not everybody can watch it live. You know, some people. I mean, we have, I don't know, we have anywhere between 50 and 100 people generally watching it live. Yeah. But it ends up with about 2,000 views. So we get, you know, there's lots of traction on them. So they're really good. I mean, and, you know, from a personal point of view, we love making them, Dom, don't we? You know, we have such a laugh, you know, and, you know, we embrace things going wrong, like today.
Well, like today. So we'll cover it very briefly, but basically the way Neil has done the show today was to give people the opportunity to set a reminder that we were going live, which was something we wanted to try for a while, and we've tried it today. But when you do that, we get a 2 or 3 minute window to be able to actually go live in the group. And of course, today was the day that technology melted down, and there was just this last minute scramble, which is why I just had to push the button to get us online with the wrong camera selected. We're on a completely different platform to where we should be, but it's just, but we've had, this is probably, I think it's probably the second time that that's happened, hasn't it? We've had to do it last minute.
I'll tell you why I'm really devastated, because just this week, after many weeks of getting flack from Dom, I changed my LinkedIn name to a really friendly name, and I was looking forward to the caption coming up.
Yeah, hang on a minute. I can't remember what it is. I've given grief. I've given Neil grief for weeks because he was something like Neil-Thompson-event-manager, that nice, easy to remember name on LinkedIn. And I gave him grief, and he finally changed it. I made the graphic this morning, and I couldn't use it.
Tom, to make you feel a little bit better, it wasn't just your technical issues. We had some of our own before we started, because Neil put a chair here for me, and obviously I'm a little bit smaller than Neil, and I look like all the ducks sat next to Neil. I was like down here somewhere. So we have to do a little bit of wheeling the chairs around the office. We have to wheel the chairs around to come up with a better solution, and he just couldn't stop laughing, so I looked like a little dizzy man next to him.
I'm just going to go back to the group and just see, because we had a load more comments coming in. Laura said something about the guidelines for making the supplier hour post more professional, but not too long, not too many pics. Have you got guidelines? I can't work out if you've got guidelines for those that I haven't seen, or if she's asking for guidelines.
No, I think she's saying she likes the guidelines.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, we do have guidelines for them about, because we did have one person right at the beginning when we started it. We posted 50 photographs.
With his post. 50 plus.
And it was a little bit too much. So we have to book. You know what? We're always devising guidelines, and we're always looking at ways to make things better and fresher. And we got some cool things coming. So
I'm going to come to this comment because Jude said you've created a unique product that offers everything for events people: professional advice, market intelligence, contacts, and a much needed virtual hug in this bloody awful year. Yeah, absolutely right.
Right back at it.
Steve Burton said last social was highlight of my year so far. Although if I'm right, that's Steve who we witnessed cutting his hair on the
live on.
You used the word litmus test just now, but actually Caroline Jackson said this is a great litmus test of the event industry, and I think actually that's a really interesting way to look at it. I think we have a pretty good understanding of where everyone's at and what everyone's doing, accepting that people are finding it exceptionally difficult at the moment in the majority. It is hard, but I think we're starting to see those little glimmers of hope. And
definitely we're seeing the number of inquiries going up on the group.
Well, we had that conversation a couple of weeks ago. You said that there's a lot more supplier posts going out, supplier hour posts going out. There's a lot more freelancer posts going out. And also there are starting to become some jobs available. Like Paul said earlier, he put a post out, and he's probably got 5 or 6 times more applications from that job than he might have got 6 months ago. But at least there's a job out there. Yeah,
we're doing free job promotions at the moment as well. So
you are?
Yes, we are. So if anybody wants any, just drop the line.
Steve Burton just said he gives and he takes. Yeah. Sorry, Steve. Look, there's a ton more notes. We're not going to get this done in an hour, Neil. So I don't know if you want to do a part 2 at some point. However, there's a couple of things. Let's talk about the future. We're going to come out of lockdown at some point, but all the time we are in this current, I'm going to say limbo state. You've got to continue growing the group and identifying ways to keep it relevant. And that's a conversation you and I have for DW Live, but it's not just about the show. It's about the group as a whole. So how do you grow it? You've got the Delegate Wranglers ambassadors, which I know is something that you've talked about. You've got the Delegate Wranglers USA group, which I know is growing a little bit. I'm in it and I'm starting to see more activity there. And then, of course, you've got the DW 20K party, and they're just 3 things. But what else have you got planned? What's next?
Oh, do you know what? We've got something really cool coming pretty soon that we can't say anything about.
I don't know anything, do I?
No.
Okay.
But it's going to be very cool. It's going to be really useful for everybody. So yeah, we're going to do that. I mean, and just to go back to some of the other things as well, like the ambassadors. Watch this space, because that we're going to be informing some people who we think are going to be our ambassadors very soon.
Yeah, the ambassadors got put on hold because of the whole COVID situation, and we were ready to go with that at the beginning of the year. So that is next on the plan. Really, I think it's time to kick that off. Yeah.
One thing we're asking for from Facebook that I ask all the time is for, like some of the little badges that come on. On your name, it'll say like content creator or new person. So I'm asking them, can I have one that says ambassador? DW ambassador. I don't know whether I'm going to get it, but I'm asking them.
I'm really surprised that it's not already there.
Yeah. I know.
It seems quite an obvious move. So you got the ambassadors coming on board. What are you going to do with the DW USA group?
That's a really good thing. You know what? We need to develop that more, because although it's growing and it's getting up to like nearly 2,000 people now, obviously COVID came, and I think that's kind of stunted the growth over there. Because I think as well, America, USA is, with COVID, it's so regional as well. In some areas it's massively hit, and in others it's less so. So, and it's such a vast space. So I don't know. It could be that we have someone from US looking after that, trying to develop it, what have you.
I think the thing is, again, Dom, though, as with the main group now, because it wasn't forced and it did happen organically, that's why it works. So we're not trying to force anything with the American group, and the numbers are slowly trickling up. And what happened with the UK group, when it became a tipping point. Was it about 3,000 people?
Yeah.
Where once it then tipped those scales, it just snowballed and the momentum built. So we started ticking over in the background, and we're keeping an eye on things, and we've got little things in the pipeline. But again, we're just letting it develop rather than trying to force anything. And then hopefully we'll get to that point again where there'll be a little bit of a tipping point, and that may snowball and grow organically.
When travel is allowed again, is it something that you might go over and explore? Would you go over and do a couple of shows like we do here?
Yeah, you know what, yeah, absolutely. We've done, so we did.
Oh, you did one, didn't you?
IMEX, yeah. We did IMEX America. We did for Madame Tussauds. We had a DW social, and we had about 80 or 90 people come.
Yeah,
it was really, really good. You know, people who and mostly American people, mostly local people, rather than just people from the UK who were at IMEX. These were new people. So, yeah, I think we might have some. It's a bit more difficult in the States because of the sheer size of the place.
Yeah.
But certainly around the shows, that's probably the way to do it, because everyone then comes to that central spot. You know, but certainly and also there's some hubs, you know, obviously like New York and Chicago, what have you.
But word of mouth, Tom, again, word of mouth, like this group is the best way to grow a business, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's probably lots of people here who can attest to that, and probably the word of mouth happening through your group.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing about the exciting news. Angela Clark, are there area DW groups, i.e. I'll be based in the Southwest and would love to connect with other event professionals down there specifically?
Not at the moment. No, we haven't got that. We've only got the kind of main group. But
we do the socials in different areas, and we do the dinner parties. So what I would say is for things like that, Don,
get to those.
When we put things up on the group, like once we can, as and when it's safe to do so. The dinner parties were very regional and more in areas where we may not be able to get a large number of people for social. And the dinner parties might be about 16 of us, something like that, 16 to 20. And they are fantastic evenings, fantastic networking, and really well looked after by the hosts on
really good fun.
Every occasion.
Really good fun. And, you know, and learning as well. You learn about the venue where you are, you know, what we can do with facilities as well. But it's a fun environment, and you get to meet other people.
Yeah, they're the people in your area, so they're the ones to look out for, I think, for that kind of connection is the dinner parties, as and when we can.
Caroline Jackson asked quite an important question about the ambassadors. Are you offering ambassador roles, or I guess will you be offering ambassador roles to students to keep the pipeline going? We need opportunities for them and grads, because everyone still goes on about the experience.
Yeah, I think
or their lack of.
Yeah, I put something up on the group probably back in January, March. March, I think it was, before all the chaos hit, to ask for students, because we do accept a small number of students every month on the group. Again, we do expect them to answer all of the questions and put their LinkedIn on, and we tend to see that they've been invited by one of the university tutors. Who we've got to know on the group as well. There's certain universities are very active, and we put a little call out to build a little hub of students for us, really, for when we are doing the big shows, or maybe when we're doing a dinner party, or we're having networking events, that they can come along and assist us with the event, and also gain that experience and network with all the other event professionals there as well. So that is something that's going on in the background. That's constantly being added to that list of students, so that as and when we're able to be in person.
It's something that's always been on our radar as well, you know, to help students, you know, take that step from, you know, education and into full-time jobs and things like that. So watch this space. More stuff about that coming soon.
But I'm actually really glad that that question was asked. Thank you, Caroline, because I think it's really important, because the next generation in every aspect is so important. Guy said, hi, Angela, I'm based in Bristol. It'd be great to connect. Are you in the UK yet? Okay, so see, already connections happening. That's kind of the point. Look, Neil, I don't know what you think. That there is a load more stuff in the notes that you sent, but we're coming up on an hour. Do you want to carry on, or do you want to start rounding it off? Is there anything particular you want to say?
Funny.
Yeah. Have you got that? What about the quiz?
Should we do some fun questions?
What are we going to do? You want to do the true or false ones?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, because you know the answer to these, let's see what the group comes back with. So true or false?
Neil, poker face.
Poker face. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6 of these, but okay. So for question number 1, this is to the group. Our very own Neil has had a lunch at Buckingham Palace. Is that true or false? For question number 2, Neil has previously abseiled off the Shard. Is that true or false? Neil once got propositioned in a lift by a prostitute in Milan. True or false? An unintentional theme, but Neil also got propositioned by a prostitute when walking into McDonald's in Stockholm. True or false? Who has the most Delegate Wranglers, Ireland or France? That's not a true or false. And then another true or false. Recently, there was an inquiry posted on the group. My wife wrote an erotic novel about a secretive masquerade party and thought it would be nice to turn it into an event. True or false? So, let's just see. The very fact that we're laughing indicates that the last one is true.
You had to attend this event or something. I don't know about. No, guys, I think these two went to event on the slide.
Neil wrote this. I wonder if he was saying my wife.
My wife, yeah.
Oh, no. Is that why you're laughing, Tom?
I was just thinking out loud.
No, definitely not.
Anyway.
Yeah, everyone's saying the last one, I hope, is true. Yes, it is true. It actually wasn't that long ago, was it?
No. Say nothing.
Anyway, Neil has had lunch at Buckingham. Neil hasn't had lunch at Buckingham Palace.
Not yet.
He hasn't abseiled off the Shard.
No.
He has, however, been propositioned by a prostitute in Milan in a lift, and he was also propositioned by a prostitute when walking into McDonald's. I was actually propositioned by a prostitute walking into a lift at Marriott Marble Arch, and secondly, walking into a curry house in Birmingham.
There's a theme. Do you know why? The one in Milan actually got stuck in a lift with the lift stopped. Honestly,
I didn't ask any questions.
Don't die. That was just the story.
I didn't ask.
True story.
I think guys responding to that last one. He says sounds like a good idea. I'll be on the project team for that.
And in answer to the Ireland and France, Dom.
Yeah.
Go on, I'll let you do that.
Now, when you wrote this, they both had 146. Is that still the case?
Yeah. I wrote that just for you last night. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, there we go.
Yeah. Good question.
I've got a good quick question for everybody.
Go on.
What percentage of the group do you think? How many percent is women and how many percent men?
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, I do know. Yeah. I do know, but I'm check it now.
Yeah.
He's got all the stats.
Full of ballpark figure, but he's going to get the actual figure.
I do know the figure. Yeah, I know it.
I don't know. I'm gonna. Is it 50-50 split? I don't actually know. Somewhere around. I'm gonna say 60% women and 40% men.
Any more? 60-40. I'm just looking. 70%.
Yeah, Guy said 60-40. I don't know which way. 60-40 women, men. Anika, Janet, 72% women. 60-40 from Juice. 60-40. See, 80% women from Helena.
And the right. Do you want to know?
Denise Cunningham is probably the closest.
Yeah, Paul Lim's really close.
Oh, Paul Lim.
No.
Ooh.
Okay, so the correct answer is 66.3% women.
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
So 2/3 women and 1/3 men.
Interesting.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to ask two quick questions to you both, and then we are going to finish. Primarily because I've got to go. Di, if you weren't doing, you can't answer photography to this either. If you weren't doing this or photography, what would be your dream job?
Oh, I don't know, Dawn.
Okay, Neil.
I'd have to say event manager, wouldn't I?
Neil, who's your inspiration?
Who's my inspiration?
Yeah.
My wife and my mum.
Oh, we've got to say hi to Neil's mum.
Yeah,
hi, Marilyn. I promise.
Oh, Marilyn. I always think I should say hello to you.
Yeah. That's how we give her away. Yeah.
I wish I was a footballer, by the way.
Yeah, there's Neil.
I was nearly a pro footballer. Not quite. Didn't make it.
Never mind.
I know.
Di, favourite city you've been to?
Maybe New York, because we've also done that as a family.
Hang on a minute.
Nice.
I recognise these questions. These are questions. He's been rumbled here, busted. That I said to him for another thing that we're doing on Instagram, where I was asking him these questions. Oh, you've been so busted.
I did it. I was hoping you wouldn't spot it. I just thought it was quite funny.
You know what, there's lots of cities I still want to go to. So we have talked about some of them in the past that I've not been to, but Neil has, you see, because Neil has travelled so extensively, much more than me. Yeah. So there's certain places I still want to go and visit, and it's never the top of Neil's list because he's probably worked there 3 times. So I'm still waiting for a few trips.
Dubrovnik,
Stockholm. Judging by this, he's probably also worried about bumping into a hooker he met somewhere as well.
Exactly.
Go back to Milan.
He's putting a quick change of direction. I'll see you there, won't I?
Yeah. Okay, look, I'm really glad we got to do this. Thank you both. I know you didn't want it to be a smoke up the arse type of show, and I hope it hasn't been that. But I also think once you get to 20,000 members on a group like this, especially one in an industry that's had such a challenging time, I think it's important to recognise the people behind it and the journey that group's gone on, either as the individuals that run it or as the group for the group as a whole. And so I hope that this has kind of done justice to what you wanted to achieve from it.
No, thanks a lot. I mean, as I say, it wasn't like about, I felt really weird saying, "Can we put on a show where you ask us?" Like it's not my nature to be like that. But
yeah,
I just wanted to recognise it in 20,000, really, just to kind of hopefully tell people, some of the things that have happened along the way, and how we got there, and what's coming, and that kind of thing. Just people get to know us a little bit more, because people often just see us on the group. Like when I'm at Complex or something, people walk up to me and go, I know your face, but I don't know where I know it from.
Don't know where from, yeah.
So it's really nice to get to talk to people as well and stuff.
I think we've got off really lightly today, Dom. I was expecting some heavier questions from people. Everyone's been really kind.
I think you couldn't have expected anything less, if I'm honest, Di.
No, thanks.
I'm just going to say, where is it? I'm loving this. Had to dip out in the middle. You guys are smashing it. Oh, thanks, Laura. Thank you for that. Everyone, DW. Chrissy said, thanks, Dom, Neil, and Di. This is more for Neil and Di, to be honest. You guys are absolute champions. Have been instrumental in keeping our spirits high during lockdown. So thank you. Superb milestone. We're the champions, my friend. That's from Guy. It's talking about the 20K. Look, I'm really sorry. I have to run. And also we've been going an hour and 10 minutes. Thank you for accepting the fact that every now and again we're going to have technical issues, because it's technology and that's the world that we currently live in. Thank you for being willing to do this. Thank you for having the group. Neil, we do just need to briefly cover, what have we got on next week?
That's a really good question.
Oh, right, Don. While Neil looks, when you said before you're only on Facebook for business?
Yes.
I am also only on Facebook for my business and for the Wranglers. So I just want to say to everybody who is sending me all these lovely, lovely friend requests, I'm not being
rude.
Well, yeah, I'm not being rude by not accepting these friend requests, but I just don't use Facebook for anything else. So they would be really bored to tears if I didn't accept a friend request. So it's nothing personal to anybody who has got a pending friend request.
By the way, I'm one of those.
Yeah. Sorry
to
fine. Neil, what's on next week?
Treating me so on Tuesday, we've got it back to Tuesday as normal. Well, certainly for next week. We've got the things you never dared to ask when organising your virtual hybrid event with our friends from Events Case.
Oh, from Events Case, who actually important, again, recognised, because right from, I think, probably about show number 2 or 3, Events Case came on board. They've given support in the background. So thanks to them. And I'm really glad that we get to have it's Jose and someone else, isn't it?
Jose and Kevin, yeah. So we basically had a run through a couple of days ago, and it was amazing. Honestly, the things we're going to talk to you about, I mean, in his words, he said, it's like not the most, some of the things, not the most exciting things. It's like about tax implications and the legal aspects of putting on online events. But these are things that you're doing them, you really need to know about, and you really need to know for sure, all that kind of things. But we're also going to have a deep dive into some of the, the products that they do as well. We use Events Case, and it's so super easy to use. I really love it. And
they're all amazing people to work with.
It's fantastic.
Gorgeous people.
And then the following week, on the Monday, we have got the return of the Canva Masterclass with our friend Rick. So I'm going to be a happy man again.
You will. You'll be in your element for that one. It'll be great.
Yeah, look out for those on the group, guys, and get registering so we can send you reminders. And we'll try and get the technical things sorted for next week.
We'll get all of that sorted. I think we both need to have a look at a good look at what the technology is. Anyway, look. Thank you, both of you, again. Thank you to everyone that's watching at home. We've had a huge amount of interaction again in this group. It's been wonderful. Thank you. We will be back on Tuesday. I think it is Tuesday, isn't it, Neil?
The 1st of September.
Yeah. We'll be back at Tuesday, 1st September at 1:30 with myself, Neil, Jose and Kevin from Events Case. In the meantime, we're going out on a bit of a high on Friday. Thank you very much for watching at home on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on not on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you are, and YouTube. Sorry, thank you. Thanks for joining us. No music at the end because the technology is not connected. Just a graphic, and away from me and away from Neil and I.
Have a weekend, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.
We'll see you all on Tuesday. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.